What's going on, everyone? So, Lakers could really use kind of that proven, consistent scorer. Not a real fan of Austin Reeves as your third option. I think him as like your fourth option, sure, fine. But I don't really know how much I like the idea of Austin Reeves, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis kind of being your main three offensive weapons. I'd prefer somebody a little more experienced, a little more consistent in that matter. Yes, Austin Reeves can go give you, a 38-point game. But then you saw the last two games after that. Nowhere near that, not as efficient. It's just the inconsistencies. I've talked about, a Zach Lavine. Still my favorite option. I'd still love to get a Zach Lavine. Brandon Ingram's another guy that I do think makes some sense, right? Guy that can just be an isolation scorer, be a guy that can give you the over-the-top shooting, be a guy that on a nightly basis go get you the production that you need on a consistent level. I know people look at Austin Reeves and go, but he's averaging 18. Yeah, it's an average, right? Guy gives you 38 one night and then gives you 14 the next 4, right? Like it all averages out at the end to 18. But it's not, and look, obviously bad nights happen, bad shooting nights happen. I'm not talking about, on any random given night, right? But like out of 10 games, at least 8 of them, you should be this type of guy. But when you're, a star level one night and then pedestrian the next, like that's where the dilemma lies. I'd rather get a guy that's in the middle. Even if it's not a star, just somebody that's just like constantly riding that line in the middle where you know what you're going to get. A guy from Austin Reeves, you don't know what you're going to get tonight. You don't know, are you going to get, 30-point Austin Reeves, or are you going to get 12 on 3 of 12 from shooting and 7 turnovers? Like, what Austin Reeves you get? How is this going to shape up, right? And then also somebody that I trust more on ball, right? Like, that's why I look at these guys. But another guy that I've talked about briefly in the past, but he's just been looking great recently, and I don't hate the idea. Again, I'd still probably prefer Zach Lavine and a Brandon Ingram, but CJ McCollum actually makes a lot of sense for the Lakers, right? He's 33. Right, he just turned 33 in September, so still probably got a couple more years. He's also not somebody that's super reliant on like athleticism and being this insane athlete or anything. So I do think he's a guy that should mature and age well. As far as going and acquiring him, right, contract wise, it's the big question, right? Because you look at like a Zach Lavine, he's $43 million. Brandon Ingram's like $36 million. CJ is $33 million. He makes $33 million this season, and then he makes $30 million next. So you clear an extra like $3 million off your books, which again could be the difference between you opening up your full mid-level exception or not, right? And so you could do like a Rui, Gabe Vincent, and then like Jalen Hood-Schifino with like Jackson Hayes, right? Something like that, and then there's the money. You clear an extra like million and some change off your books, and now you could also bring in 3 other guys, right, via trades. Also, CJ McCollum gives you another guy that can be that initiator, play kind of on ball, be a guy that I would trust to make plays and everything. Also, the dude is like a lock as a 20-point-a-game guy, as the 3rd, 4th, 5th, like no matter what. Like he's just a guy that is very efficient and just go get you buckets. And he's having a really good. He had like a 50-piece, I think it was the other night, and then followed that up with like he had 45. Like a couple nights ago, right? Like and he also had 8 rebounds and a couple assists, right? He's a guy that literally can make a very significant impact for this Lakers team, right? Like he's a guy that I would love to see kind of be added to the mix of things for the Lakers, right? Obviously, price, like what do you have to give up? If you have to trade a bunch of firsts and stuff for him, then no, it's not worth it. But if you can get him for a reasonable price, a couple seconds or something like that, or a pick swap or something, then I definitely think it's worth something looking into. But so far this season in 31 games, he's averaging just under 34 minutes per game. He is taking 18.6 field goal attempts per game. He's shooting 45.3% from the floor. He's shooting 37.4% from 3 on 8.5 attempts. Last season, though, however, because you got to keep in mind, Pelicans have been decimated with injuries this season, and he has, on many nights, been like the guy, right? So you look at when Pelicans were healthier, like last season, he was on 8.4 attempts, so same attempts as this season. He shot 43% from three-point range. He's a career 40% three-point shooter. So to me, it's like, can he get back to that 40% playing alongside LeBron James and Anthony Davis? I think so. He's also averaging He's shooting 52% from the floor on 2-point range on 10 attempts. EFG of 53.9%. He's shooting 71% from the free throw line this season, which is down from 80%. I think a lot of this stuff, though, you got to keep in mind, I think, is circumstances, right? It's very different when you're the guy and you're just surrounded by a bunch of bad players. And now you go to a team like the Lakers where, because again, Pelicans have just been injured all season. But now you go to a team like the Lakers and you got LeBron, you got AD, you got these guys, right? But rebounding the basketball, he's giving you 4 rebounds, 4 assists with a steal and a block will be nice, round them both up, and 22.4 points. Now, he's not this like lockdown defender. He's like defensively would be a bit of a concern. There is a redundancy with him and Austin Reeves. Like, I don't think you could have both of them in your backcourt. I just don't. I think you'd have to bring one off the bench. Problem is, I just don't think the Lakers would bring Austin Reeves off the bench, 1, and 2, I think that they would keep that redundancy, if I'm being honest. I wouldn't trade Austin Reeves for CJ McCollum just because, again, CJ's 33, so it's like, how many more years do you have left? But, like, if you were to get CJ and then if you wanted to look to turn Austin Reeves into a more complementary fit, then I wouldn't be against it. I don't like the idea of CJ and Austin both as your backcourt. I think you have, again, they both kind of want to do the same thing. They're both kind of the same player. They both have the defensive liabilities. I just think you have this new redundancy. So you traded a redundancy to bring in a new redundancy. And I don't like that idea. I don't like the idea of having, again, these issues of like, okay, well now your backcourt, yes, is offensively is really good, but defensively is a liability. You're putting so much pressure on like a Dorian Finney-Smith and an Anthony Davis, right? Jared Vanderbilt's back, but even with him back, it's going to take him some time to kind of ramp up. At the end of the day, like, price is everything, right? And he'd be a $30 million expiring contract in the offseason. If you could get him without giving up any firsts, I think it's something that you got to at least consider. I think it's something you got to at least explore. Or you got to at least look at the potential, like, do your due diligence, right? At least just have the dialogue, have the conversation. Like, hey, what are you looking for CJ? Now, is there a path to getting him for reasonable, and get you off some guys? Or do you want to would you rather keep him, right? Do they really want like a Gabe Vincent or Rui? Do you have to find like a third team? Rui makes some sense for them. Gabe Vincent, not so much, but could they look at it and go, hey, maybe we could flip Gabe to a contending team and get a second or something like that out of it, right? Maybe a team would take a flyer on Gabe Vincent and see if he can kind of get back to being the Miami Gabe Vincent. Maybe it's just like a Laker issue, which we have seen numerous times, right? Like, Malik Beasley is a great example. On the Lakers, he was like unplayably bad. Everywhere else, he's like leading the league in like 3-point percentage and like knocking down 8 threes a game, and you're just like, where was this? Right? We could have used that desperately. But I definitely think, again, it's something to at least explore. It's something I think you at least pick up the phone and you have that conversation. Just go, hey, like, where are we at with him? Right? I'd still probably prefer Brandon Ingram. And again, you essentially are sending out the same players, the same pieces, right? Because the difference isn't like that much. Yeah, you might be able to save like a vet minimum guy, but like, who cares, right? Give it up. I would still lean personally Brandon. Like, if it was, hey, you could get Brandon Ingram or CJ McCollum for basically the same price, I would take Brandon Ingram. 1, he's younger. But even like if you remove the age, I just think Brandon Ingram, 1, is better, and 2, I think gives you more of what you need. But you could argue CJ's better off ball, catch and shoot 3-point shooter, right? He's a guy that can initiate and kind of run the offense for you. I trust him more on ball than I do Austin Reeves, right? I think he'll get you less turnovers. I think he'll take care of the ball, manage the ball better. You want him more as like your scorer, your bucket getter. But he's a guy, like I said, that can completely go win you a game, take over you. He has playoff experience, and he's a guy that shows up in the playoffs, right? He's a guy that's been to a conference finals, right, as the second guy along, Dame. Right? Like, he's a guy that's been anywhere from, the guy to the third guy, right? And I look at CJ and I go, you know what? Like, he does make some sense. I'm not a fan of CJ and Reeves as your backcourt. right? Like I've even talked about, I'm not big on like Lavine and Reeves as your backcourt, right? So to me, I kind of look at it as like, can you turn Reeves into those other complementary pieces? Like, can you go get CJ, bring CJ in, and then take Austin Reeves and turn Reeves plus whatever else into like another like better starting piece that complements CJ, right? Or could they even, I don't even think they could get, I mean, technically it'd be like 60 million. If you trade Reeves, you could get there. It'd be tough. But like, I was going to say DeJounte too, but it's probably a little unrealistic. But, you know, can you just get the right complementary pieces is my point, right? Can you get the right guys and turn this into something? But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass a question to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you like the idea of CJ McCollum? Do you hate the idea of CJ McCollum? You kind of mix in the middle. Do you kind of have your same concerns that I do, where it's like, yeah, you have just this redundancy? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I would love to hear it either way, so let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.